Have you ever noticed that some of the kindest people you've ever met are also some of the most tired? They are the ones who always show up, who always smile, who always say yes when you ask for help. But if you look closely, you can see the exhaustion in their eyes. You sense that behind that external kindness is something deeper, something heavier, maybe even something darker. We often imagine kindness as this pure, uncomplicated good. We teach children to be kind. We admire compassion in leaders. But kindness, like everything else in this complicated world, has a shadow. And when you ignore that shadow, kindness itself can turn into something destructive. It starts small. A child learns that being kind and agreeable earns them love. When they put their own needs aside to make others comfortable, they are rewarded with praise and affection. Over time, this association becomes deeply ingrained, kindness becomes survival. As they get older, it becomes harder to separate who they are from what others expect them to be. They become the reliable one, the good person, the friend who never complains. But here is the truth: when kindness is forced, when it is driven by a fear of rejection or a desperate need to be valued, it is no longer pure. It becomes a mask. And masks, when worn too long, start to suffocate the person beneath them. Think about the people in your life who are endlessly kind. They will listen to your problems for hours, help you move, and sacrifice their own rest just to make sure you are okay. At first, it feels admirable. But if you've lived that role, you know the truth. Behind every act of self-sacrifice is a quiet resentment. A voice whispers, "What about me?" But that voice is often silenced because chronic kindness comes with an unspoken rule: you are not allowed to put yourself first. Psychologists call this phenomenon compassion fatigue. It describes what happens when someone gives so much of their empathy and care that they eventually run dry. Studies show that people who consistently prioritize others over themselves report higher levels of anxiety, depression, and even physical health problems. Unchecked kindness is self-erasure. Kindness without boundaries is not kindness at all, it's a subtle form of self-destruction. Here's the unsettling part: sometimes, kindness becomes a weapon. Not in a manipulative way, but in a quiet, unconscious way. When you are known as the kind one, people start to expect it. They rely on it. Your kindness, without realizing it, teaches others that your needs are secondary and your feelings are negotiable. Over time, people stop even asking what you want because they assume you will always adjust to them. The kind person ends up training the world to overlook them. This creates a paradox: the kinder you are, the more invisible you become. And invisibility is not peace, it is loneliness dressed up in politeness. None of this means kindness is bad. Genuine kindness is a beautiful force. But there is a difference between kindness that flows from abundance and kindness that bleeds from emptiness. One heals, the other corrodes. One comes from love, the other from fear. Research has shown that people who struggle to say no, often those who identify as kind, are significantly more likely to experience burnout. Another study found that altruistic behavior only increases well-being when it is voluntary and authentic. When kindness is performed out of guilt, obligation, or fear of disappointing others, it actually lowers happiness and increases stress. We get trapped in this cycle: we don't want to disappoint, so we keep saying yes. We don't want to be perceived as selfish, so we keep giving. But the cost is enormous: you slowly lose sight of yourself. When you suppress your needs, deny your anger, and bury your boundaries in the name of kindness, those emotions don't disappear. They collect in the shadows, they ferment, and eventually, they come out in ways you can't control. Perhaps it's snapping at a loved one over something small, or passive-aggressive resentment that subtly leaks out. We like to imagine that kindness protects us from darkness. But in reality, kindness without honesty creates the perfect breeding ground for it. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you smile when you want to cry, you are not being kind, you are abandoning yourself. And self-abandonment always has consequences. Why do kind people struggle so much with boundaries? The answer lies in conditioning. Many of us are taught that being agreeable is safer than being authentic, and that love is earned by what we give. But true kindness does not erase the self, it includes the self. If your kindness is costing you your mental health, joy, and energy, it is no longer kindness. It is self-neglect dressed as virtue. So, how do we embrace kindness without letting it destroy us? The answer lies in one simple truth: kindness must begin with you. Think of the airplane safety instruction: put your oxygen mask on first. If you pass out, you can't help anyone. If you neglect your own needs, your ability to truly care for others suffocates. This is where boundaries come in. Boundaries, for kind people, often feel terrifying, like rejection or selfishness. But in reality, boundaries are the purest form of honesty. A boundary says, this is what I can give, and this is what I cannot. It says, my love is real, but it cannot exist if I'm empty. Setting boundaries isn't just about saying no to others, it's about saying yes to yourself. You might even lose relationships in the process, because some people won't like it when you stop overextending. But relationships built on the expectation of endless giving were never truly balanced in the first place. Here are strategies for shifting from enslaved kindness to liberated kindness. 1. Practice the pause. When someone asks something of you, don't immediately say yes. Take a breath. Check in with your own needs: do I have the energy for this? 2. Learn the gentle no. A no can be compassionate and kind. I care about you, but I can't take this on right now. The world won't fall apart if you say no. 3. Reframe your worth. Your value is not determined by how much you give away. You are worthy of love even when you rest, even when you say no. 4. Tend to your own garden. Fill yourself with things that nourish you. When you live from abundance rather than scarcity, kindness flows naturally, it's not draining. 5. Allow the harder emotions. Anger, frustration, sadness are not enemies of kindness. They are signals that tell you when your boundaries are being crossed. Listen to them, they are your guides. For many, kindness has become a lifelong mask. The real journey is to remove the mask and let kindness come from the real you, the you that can say yes and no with equal honesty. The irony is this: when you treat yourself with true kindness, your kindness toward others becomes more powerful, not less, because it comes from overflow, not depletion. The dark side of kindness is not your anger or your limits. The real monster is self-neglect. Once you face it, your kindness grows stronger, sharper, more radiant. It becomes the kind of kindness that doesn't just keep others alive, but keeps you alive, too. It means truth. That is the kind of kindness the world needs most: the courage to love without losing yourself.